where it goes down, where you hear about the sports all around town. In the country, full of controversy to the highlights. You just not safe in the limelight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Stoop, where we talk hoops, and more hoops. Do remember, The Stoop is always powered and brought to you by our good folks over there at Nuts and Bolts Sports. Nuts and Bolts, we love you for the opportunity. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, pulling up to The Stoop is a special episode. Listen, when we're really talking about the grit and grind of coming up, and when they really say coming from the bottom, we really got today's guest doing that in the way that he came back to his life and rebuilt everything from the ground up is through the sport of basketball. And we love to talk basketball. Not only that, he's been an athlete and gone on to do some great things in his life and just really done some great things and been productive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. Donald Taylor. Mr. Donald Taylor, thank you so much for coming by the Stoop today. Shout out to my guy, Kev P. Kev P, what's going on, Kev P?
Everything is good, man. As always, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I know. I appreciate it. All right, Mr. Taylor, once again, it's a pleasure for you to come on to the Stoop today. I want to start a question off by saying, when did you fall in love with the sport of basketball?
I guess I fell in love with basketball. I guess I played the game, but when I fell in love is when I became homeless.
Okay.
That's when I fell in love with basketball.
Got you. So around what age through all that process did you realize you may be able to do something with it?
I say about 15 years old, 14 to 15 years old.
Okay. Go ahead, Kev.
You've had quite the upbringing, to say the least. At age 15, your family, your mother, and your three brothers, you were evicted from your apartment in Brooklyn. Tell us a little bit about that experience as well as the significance that basketball played at that time.
Wow. It's funny. One day I was coming home from school. I had to pick up my younger brothers. And as we got on my block, I saw some dude moving my furniture out the house. Remember, back when I played, back then, they take your furniture and put it out on the street. Not now, they put it in the storage. But when you were homeless, right, in my time, they put it out in this guy putting our furniture out in the street. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, man. Are we being robbed? So me and my brother ran up on him, was ready to duke him in, but then I realized that, we being evicted from my apartment. When I saw tears in my mother's eyes, that's when I realized that, as my brothers didn't understand it, but I did right away. Okay. And as far as basketball is concerned, that's the day when my mother told me, Donald, promised me that you'll stay in school and not, sell drugs in the streets. And I said, Mom, I will. And I think basketball was a way for me to release that anger.
Okay.
Being upset that I was being evicted out in the streets.
You did that out of love and respect for your mom. I can respect that.
Most definitely.
So I remember Brooklyn basketball in the 90s was ripe with talent. There was no internet back then. And if you were nice, you either read it in the paper or you heard about it from word of mouth. You made a name for yourself and you were on people's radar. They were checking for you. But do you recall circling certain games on a schedule because of a particular player or team? And if so, who would that be?
Wow. There's so many. I mean, well, you had Lamar Jones, you had Ty Davidsons, you had Khalid Reeves, Norman Marbury, Jamal Mashburn. Wow, that at that time, the circle of players. Wow, I would have to go with I have to go with Norman Marbury.
Who would you say was your toughest competition though?
Oh, when I went to the Nike All-American camp, I played against this kid called Khalid Reeves. I think Khalid Reeves and Brian Reese. I don't know if these names.
North Carolina, Brian Reese.
North Carolina, Brian Reese.
Khalid Reese is Arizona. He a Wildcat.
Arizona, right. I think those was probably the toughest guys. I mean, don't forget Brooklyn. Brooklyn had a circle of tough guys too, but
absolutely.
Out of memory from camp, I remember those guys going, playing against those guys, tough guys.
Mr. Taylor, Brian Reese upset the Fab Five in the NCAA tournament.
What's that?
Brian Reese upset the Fab Five in the tournament. That's a fact. Well, hey, Mr. Taylor, welcome to some basketball geniuses out here, man. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Right.
So I wanted to go back for a sec. Miss Mac, as y'all like to
Miss
call her.
Mac, wow.
Debbie
The
McIntosh.
first lady coach.
There it is. She made history being the first female coach
Yeah, high
out
school.
to
Wow.
coach boys
First,
high school in New York.
first white lady coach in an all-black school.
There it is.
Wow.
So
Even more so. Admittedly, she didn't know anything about the sport. She didn't even particularly care for it.
no.
But to her credit, she dedicated herself to coaching and learned quickly.
Yeah.
What was it like to play for a coach that was still learning the nuances of coaching as well as the sport itself, in addition to being a lady coach? Because back then, that was essentially unheard of at the time.
It was a white lady coach coming into Prospect Heights, one of the worst schools in New York City.
Yes, sir.
She walked in. We was like, "What the?" Yeah, we was like, that's definitely not our coach. She came in the gym. I mean, she had the whistle on, and she portrayed the coach, look. But we gave her a hard time at first, doing everything we can to try to get her to just
Try to run up out of there.
move on. Yeah, coming into the locker room, maybe had our shirt off, just doing things that try to make her go, I can't do this. But boy, she showed us. I mean, tough. I mean, she was really mentally for us, and we started to love her. And I think that was the, all coming from the streets and having a white lady coach. We was like, we knew we was gonna lose all the games, but just the fact that she showed us love, I think that's what won us over. Wanting to learn and being a mother figure to us. I think that kind of helped us with, okay, let's give her a chance. Because as we was cursing, she was giving us hugs, if you know what I mean. As we was like, going through our problems, she would come and talk to us personally. Some things that I never experienced from a male coach. Not to say male coaches don't do that, but in my time, she gave me that motherly love. And all the players too as well. And I think that's why we embraced her and we accepted her as our coach.
Okay. That's what's up. TJ, go ahead.
No doubt. So, Mr. Taylor, listen, you got to know that in order to stay eligible on that floor, you got to do your schoolwork. So I want to talk about what kind of barriers did you face, unfortunately, being homeless and being in the shelter at that time and still having to concentrate and make the mark and get your schoolwork done and completed, man. How did that go for you?
At first, I was a D student. I mean, not the brightest kid in the world, and I'm not claiming to be. What happened for me, like I said, when I became homeless, and we went into the shelter. I don't know if you heard, it was Catherine Street, Lower Manhattan. It was a high school built for shelters, and you share. It was a classroom, but they put a divider in there, and you share a spot with another family. And I'm in a classroom now that's divided in half. My mother and my brothers on one side. Remember, it's my mother and 4 kids. Me being the oldest, 4 brothers. I had to grow up real fast because I was the oldest, no father figure around. I had to be the man of my family. I had a little brother who was I think the youngest was, I think Lola was 4 at the time.
Oh, wow.
Tavares was, I think 9, and my brother Tyrone was right under me. So I was 15, he was 13. So I had to grow up real fast. I never experienced my teenage life. I never really meant to be a teenager because I had to look after my 4 brothers. And like I said, it put a spark in me that I said, and my mother said, Donald, please just promise me that you're not going to go out there in the street and sell drugs. And I had them all come. I had drug dealers come, yo, D, come on, man, sell this. Come on, man, you can make money for your family. That was always, I was like, no, I made a promise to my mom. And I started to pick up a book a little bit, started to read a little bit. I started to raise my, and I think that's what the teachers saw. I started to raise my hand in class and say, listen, I don't understand. I need help. Please help me. And I had teachers sitting down with me. I'll never forget this, this teacher name is Jones. Sat down with me, helped me to read things and understand things, helped me to put my writing in order. You know, I'm from the streets. So everything that the way I talk is the way I was writing, which I had to realize that you can't write the way you talk.
Absolutely.
So I had to change, I had to revamp my whole life around to education and putting that first, a little bit before basketball.
Right.
Putting that first, and the basketball is the key that kept me out of trouble, but using my education also to help keep me out of trouble. So it was kind of hard, but with the love and the support that I got, and the tutorings that I got, the teachers around me, I was able to pull it off.
Understood. Listen, Mr. Taylor, just like you, I had a couple of opportunities out there. Kel would tell you, I did a little 1-2 back in my day. I was all right, but not to the level of you. But I had a little game. But the problem was I only got a 720 on my SAT scores as well. And I tell people that all the time. Like, that was my downfall and my demise. I know back in your day, you also received a low SAT score in the beginning. And I know I had testing anxiety. But let's talk about the conversation you had with yourself. You've fallen in love with basketball. You know, you're trying to get your family to a better situation, a better way of life, but you score low on the SAT, so that kind of minimized your opportunities. So what was that in the moment? What was that pep talk like for yourself? And what did you do to get yourself back on your feet and say, you know what, what's next?
I'm glad you asked that, brother, because kids need to know that even though you fall down, you can get back up.
Right.
When I first took the SAT score, I scored a 640. And I'll never forget, I came in the gym and I just fell and I started crying. And Miss Mack, remember I told you the mother of her, hugged me and said, it's going to be okay. And I cried. And this is something that I never told anyone. That I cried and I asked her, I said, you know, am I stupid? Am I dumb? You know, why is I not getting it? And you know what she told me? That test, it was not built. It was not right for them to throw on us when we're not being taught the things that was on that test.
That's right.
And
right.
And she motivated me to keep trying and trying again. I kept trying. I just couldn't get. Remember, all I needed was a 700 to pass, to play, to be eligible to play basketball, D1 basketball, or you know, on a scholarship level. Never ever got that 700, and that was another blow to me from being homeless. And I cried because it's funny. I passed all my high school. You know, we didn't have to take a Regents test. Remember, in high school, when I went to high school, all you had to do is just take the RCTs, and you pass that, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I was able to get my high school diploma. But every time I, sit down, even now to this day, I was never able to pass that freaking SAT test, and it hurt me because the way I grew up and the way I was being taught, it wasn't preparing me for the SAT. You understand?
Right.
And if you talk to people around my age or anything like that, the classes, the prep classes, and I just wasn't getting it in everyday learning. You see? Now, if they was asking me things on that test about what I've learned in Prospect Heights, I got way over 700.
Yeah.
You're seeing math problems that you never seen before. You're seeing on the English parts that you got to put words together, and I'm like, whoa, this is like speaking a foreign language to me. And the Miss Mac, they said you're down. They said, what was the downfall? When I cried on her shoulders, like I said, the mother of her, she looked at me and said, it's going to be okay. And she hugged me, and she made me realize that, it's going to be all right. And from that moment, I got in the library. I studied. I put basketball down for a few minutes. I tried to get it right. I just couldn't get over that hump. And that's what led me to junior college.
Okay.
We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Well, first of all, shout out to Miss Mack for embracing you in that moment.
Most definitely.
And lifting you up, because clearly that made a little bit of a difference for you, and you persevered and were able to still go on and do great things. So shout out to her for that. But in addition to that, she uplifted you, and then you guys in turn uplifted her on a coaching basis. And
oh yes.
And thanks to you, to the success you guys attained in pretty quick succession, Miss Mack was featured on 60 Minutes, in which brought more attention to the program for you guys.
Yes.
And in turn, the Utah Jazz were in town playing the Knicks, and the mailman, Karl Malone, paid a visit to the team, and he had a little side conversation with you as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what was shared with you guys in that moment, please?
I would never forget Karl Malone. Wow. Angel, I mean, sent, when all fails, God is always good. And Karl Malone, when he saw the piece, he was touched by us being, one, here you got an all black school with a white lady trying to help these kids achieve something better in life. And Karl Malone came in and he pulled me to the side and he talked to me. It almost, and I talked to him about the situation with the SAT, and I talked to him, and he made me feel that everything's going to be okay. And he told me he wants me to come out and visit his family. And it was funny. After the Senior Hall show, when I was on the Senior Hall show, Karl Malone flew me out to his house, and I met his mother before she passed away, and I met his whole family, and he introduced me to a lot of John Stockton, around everybody that's in the basketball world, and just showed me if I continue to work hard, this is what's coming. And just another way of motivating me. And Karl Malone, like I said, like a big brother, another guy who, like I said, who didn't have to do that. Karl Malone was already a star within his own rights. He didn't have to, and he wasn't looking for nothing. He wasn't looking to be notified, hey, I got a homeless kid from New York City, I'm taking him around. No, he wasn't looking for that. He just talked to me about life. A black man embracing a young black man and try to help him get off the streets and see better things in the world besides Brooklyn. There's so much out there. And that's why I will always have the ultimate respect for the mailman.
That's heavy. That's beautiful, man. You really giving us some gems today.
Sir.
But I want to advance for a second here, and we're going to talk about senior in high school. You voted on to the All-City team.
Yeah.
Awarded the United States Basketball Writers Association Most Courageous Player Trophy.
Yeah.
And then you head off to college at Sullivan County Community College. Yeah. And you win the NJCAA championship immediately, first year. Yeah. How difficult was it to celebrate your personal triumphs in the midst of all the difficulties that's happening at home?
Yeah. Wow. Like I said, brother, God is good. I'm always going to preach that first. When one door closes, another one opens up.
Say that.
And Sullivan was a door that opened up for me. Remember, I didn't pass my SAT.
Yeah, initially you were supposed to go to Maine, correct?
Maine. Right. I didn't pass my SAT. So I had to, like I said, after the crying and saying, oh, my life is over, and Miss Mack with the loving, the door opened up. I'll never forget it. I was playing basketball at Wingate Park. We was in the tournament, Wingate Park Championship.
Notorious.
A guy by the name of Eric Fogel. I don't know if you ever heard of Eric Fogel. Eric Fogel saw me play, and he was like, yo, D, what are you doing for Stephon? What school are you going to? And I was like, man, I really don't know. You see, this was a black shade of my life. This was the part where the cloud was over me, and I didn't know where my next step was going. But God is good, like I said before. Eric talked to me, and he's like, listen, man, I got the perfect school for you, man. And he told me about Sullivan. At the time, I didn't have nowhere to go. So me, I was like hitting the lotto. I was like, okay, I can start from there. So he took me up to, they had a practice in the Bronx with the guys that he wanted to recruit. The coach already told him, we got all the players. We don't need anyone else. Eric told him, boy, you didn't see this player yet. So he took me up to the Bronx, and of course, all the guys was there, the whole team that he said, that he already had down for the team. I'm not even supposed to be on the team. And boy, I put a spanking on every last one of them. I mean, and everybody know me for jumping and dunking. And I put a show where the coach was like, oh, we want him. So, like I said, one door closes, and I was hungry, man. And I'm homeless. I got nothing to lose. When you're at the bottom and you don't want to go the wrong way, this was the right way for me. So let me take it. And I took it, and I was, like I said, I was hungry, and I went up there, and I don't talk trash a lot when I play, but my game would speak for itself, and my anger in it was, I challenged it the right way, and I was able to show the coach that you ain't got everybody, you don't have me yet.
Yeah, well, you certainly channeled that anger the correct way, and you certainly were hungry.
Absolutely.
Because, man, I tell you, there were no shortage of sports-related accomplishments. The aforementioned All-City, the Courageous Player Trophy, the championships, the regional championships, which included a 68-1 record during that time.
Yeah, one
tournament MVP.
Yeah.
D3 National Player of the Year. Then you went on to the ABA, and you were Rookie of the Year, and all culminating in being inducted in the SUNY Sullivan Athletics Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
All those accomplishments I just listed off. Which one are you most proud of?
Wow. Oh, man. I guess to be recognized from a college and to be put in their Hall of Fame, that's something that people will always see. Mm-hmm. The banner that they got up with my name on it, the first, that's an accomplishment that I just will always, every time I go up to the Sullivan games and I look at my name is still up there on that banner, it was something amazing. And I think that one really touched me because it was that one that made me feel like, okay, you did it. You didn't make it to the pros, so what? But
you accomplished a lot.
You did it. You actually did it. And graduating from that school and then headed on to FDU, and doing well for FDU and actually getting my degree, but my mother actually able to see me graduate from college. And I know she cried so much, and she said, "You did it, son. You didn't fold back to easy money. Now you got a career, you got a degree, you have a life. Now go take these tests and get these jobs." I'm not going to say that to me. Get these jobs and take care of yourself. She didn't even care about me. Last sponsor, Mom, I got your house. No, son, get your education. You don't care about no house. You can't take it with her favorite word. You can't take it with you when you die. I said, oh, God. But that was it. I think that was the most.
Beautiful. TJ, go ahead. You got something for him?
Yeah, Mr. Ted, so looking at things, you said throughout the interview, like, when one door closes, another door opens. If we take it back a little bit, I know that there's a lot of doors that open for you. A lot of people open up those doors to help you out. Let's talk about the relationship that you have with Coach Green, another individual that was, instrumental for you in helping you out and getting you along the way on your basketball journey. How was that much of an impact as well?
Coach Green from, oh, wow. Playing on that level, basketball, he instilled confidence in me. He was like, he didn't, like some coaches try to shut your game down or want you to play the ABCD. He believed in my, me being an athlete. He believed in me playing, and he let me play my game. And I think that was probably the best thing that I ever experienced, where a coach just letting me be me. He wanted me to go out there and show what I got. He said, use your athletic, use your speed, and just play the game the way you play. With a little bit of, restrictions here and here, but not as much where I wasn't able to be me. He let me be me. And I think that's the most thing I remember about Coach Green. He wanted me to be me. And that was the best.
Okay. Now, another quick question. Growing up in the 90s, there were a lot of great players in that era. You know, people are still talking about the 90s basketball to this day. Growing up in New York City in the 90s, man, who was one person that might have inspired your game or somebody you looked up to or somebody that you really tried to pattern your game after?
Well, I never really tried to pattern my game after anybody, but if there's anybody I respect when they play ball was Seth Marshall. I don't know if you ever heard of Seth Marshall. Him, Corey Williams, and another one, Conrad McCray.
Okay, Conrad. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Conrad.
Rest in peace. Definitely rest in peace. I remember playing in the game, and everybody know me for my athletic ability. Everybody know, boom, I get that ball. I don't do all the dribbling. I do 2 or 3 moves. I'm going to the hole. I'm not trying to put it behind my back 1,000 times, my leg 1,000 times. I'm going to get you off angle, then shoot right to the hole. I remember Conrad telling me, "Yo, D, take the 3. You open. Shoot it, man. I don't care what." And for some reason, I remember him saying that to me. And that day, I think I hit like 2 or 3, and no one really knows me from shooting threes. And I hit like 2 or 3 threes, and it's only because I heard his voice in my head telling me over and over while, as we playing, everybody backing off me because they know I'm fast.
Yeah, you're a slasher, right?
Right. So he telling me to shoot it, and that right there, wow, Conrad, man, I can't say no more, man. God bless. God bless his soul.
Yeah, God bless,
Brooklyn.
most definitely. Go ahead, Kev.
Yes, sir, indeed.
Wow.
After graduating, you began teaching and later transitioned into a career of law enforcement. And you said you may return to possibly teach again and maybe even coach. Where do you stand on that now?
Wow, after all this stuff going on, man. Okay, let's start with I graduated. I got my degree. I'm very excited, and I did my. I was at Elmont High School in Long Island doing my student teaching, and they hired me right away. I mean, I never forget. Her name was Miss Streaker, the principal at the time, and she liked me, and she put me. She said, "I want you to come in next year," and at first I was a little scared. I'm a Brooklyn kid,
Going out in that life.
As I got on to it, and I got comfortable, I started loving it. And then the switch to being a teacher to a police officer, I was talking to another teacher, and I was like, "Yo, man, listen, you got a house, you got a car. How are you gonna do it off our salary?" He told me he was a retired police officer. So it was always in my mind, and they was only asking for 20 years. And I said, I love helping people. I love, doing the right thing. And I know I'm a Black man that will have a great impact on my community when they see me in uniform and know that they're safe. And I always thought about my mother being safe. I always thought about the time when we slept in the park where I didn't get no sleep, and my mother laid on my shoulders and my brothers, and I had them around holding them. And I stayed up that whole night just looking around. I always said, I want to make people feel safe. I guess it was just in me. So I took the test for a police officer, and they called me, and I was right out, took a leave of absence from teaching and started doing that because they only asked for 20 years. And being a police officer, I've seen a lot of things that were, wow. A lot of things that I liked and a lot of things that I did not like. And I said, how could I make a change? How could we change this where the community don't like officers and vice versa? That's not the way it's supposed to be done. And I just started to talk to people and just wanted to help. And I think that's why I love doing what I'm doing, because I was able to help some brothers by just talking to them, man. I was able to change some people's minds about the idea of all police officers. Not all, not this one. And when all this stuff that hit now in the city that's going over, with the knee on the neck and all this craziness that's going on, I still live by me showing people that I'm not